Here we go. We're on. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Bwtm Sports. I have with me, alongside me today, special guest, Palm. How are we doing, Palm?
Yeah, good, bud. Guys, how are you? Morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Great to be back here, buddy.
Fantastic. And we also have with us our Eastern European correspondent, as always, Eugene in the house. Eugene, how are we doing?
Doing great.
Fantastic. Eugene, I guess we'll leave it over to you first, because obviously we've got talk Golovkin, we've got Lomachenko over the weekend to talk about. So you can kick things off for us, and then we'll divulge into anything else afterwards.
Okay, well, let's not go for starters. Let's jump into the main meal, the the Lomachenko fight, and it surprised more than it should, you know, because he knocked out Linares going up in weight, which is a big statement in itself. On the other hand, he got knocked down the first time in his professional career, and that hasn't happened since in 2006.
What about the Gary Russell fight? There are people talking that he got knocked down by Gary Russell, but it wasn't considered a knockdown. But it seemed a clean shot to me.
I would say that the guy like him with a lot of footwork can just trip up.
Okay.
Yeah, but that one he was coming cleanly into the hand, so you cannot, because he basically flipped him. You know, he landed on his face and the guy fell on his ass.
Yeah,
can't trip like that.
And you knew about that shot too, right, Eugene? I mean, that's one of Linares' favorite shots. You know, the straight right. So, and the fact that Lomachenko mentioned in his interview they knew about the shot and he still got caught.
Yeah. Well, basically, what he's like, because I have the language barrier removed for me, right? Whenever they would go to his corner and I would listen what Anatoly Lomachenko says, he would get pretty nervous about him, because he's saying you're not looking after his right hand, and his right hand is the only thing that can get you in trouble.
Right.
And he kind of got reckless. I think it was round 6.
Okay.
Right. He got, you know, he jumped. He found that flaw that he boxes in, that rhythm, and he kind of got overconfident. So Linares, you know, threw some water on him. So he reconsidered his strategy, and I was more surprised about the scorecards, though. The scorecards are really interesting. By the time the fight was over, I think one judge had 90, not to lie, I think it was 96, 94 for Lomachenko. The other had 95, and the other had 96, 94 for Linares. So a lot of people like, would it go like Canelo fight? You know, when
maybe they were looking to get a rematch in.
Yeah,
maybe a rematch, a draw is beneficial. Yeah. Canelo, GGG, had either one of those guys actually won the fight, there'd be no rematch. So I guess it's a money-making ploy, potentially. If Linares didn't go down, the fight could have been called a draw. If it would have been up in uproar, you would have got a rematch, and King Bob would have got more money again.
Maybe, but I don't think it's actually what Bob wants, because now they're in a race with Garcia, right? Okay. Because Garcia is jumping in to grab IBF title to add to his WBC, and they need to go for the WBO, because if they would be tied with Linares for the negotiations, right? For a rematch would happen at least half a year from that point. Then Garcia would be able to go for the WBO, provided that he wins against Easter, which I think he will. So, and they would not, like, everything in negotiations would go against them, because Garcia would have 3 bouts and basically Lomachenko would get the shorter end of the stick. Here they kind of try to even or win as many bargaining chips that they can get.
Eugene, with the success that Linares did have against Lomachenko, obviously I think Garcia would probably feel pretty confident going into a fight with Lomachenko. What do you think?
He might, but at the same time, Lomachenko is not acclimatized for the new weight at this point. In 2 fights more, I would say he's fully into the weight, and the weight cannot be an issue for him.
But can you do up a 4th weight, because that's potentially 4th weight, right? 140 pounds.
Yeah, he said that 140 pounds would be for something big, like they were talking about fighting Pacquiao. I don't want to see that fight. You know, it's not good for either Pacquiao or Lomachenko, the way I see it, because Pacquiao is getting old, and to drain him into other weight, it does not look good from more of a professional perspective, I would say. But fans that just casuals, they will buy it because it's Pacquiao and that's Lomachenko.
It's money. So
yeah. Bob needs new cash cow. Bob Arum, he needs someone to be his new ATM.
I couldn't see Eugene Pacquiao at 140 pounds now. I can't imagine that, and I don't think Lomachenko is going to go to 147.
No, he said himself that he does not believe that he can make 147 without extra chemistry.
I know with Lomachenko and Linares said that they would be up for the rematch, but do we know if there's a rematch clause? It would be plausible. It'd be for them to have one, right? It's a massive fight. I'm sure there is a rematch.
But okay, he knocked him down, but other than that, Lomachenko more or less looked like a boss for me in that fight.
But then Eugene's right, because if you go by the scorecards, that was heading for a draw potentially.
Look, Evander Holyfield and Lennox Lewis fought in the first fight. That was no way a draw.
That was no way a draw.
But it was heading for a draw. We didn't know that at the time. It was heading for a draw. You got to understand, for me, why were the scorecards so close? Was the fight that close? To me, it looked like Lomachenko was in control. Yes, Linares had his moments, but they're few and far between, as opposed to what Lomachenko was doing. He got knocked down, but the way he got knocked down, he didn't get knocked down. He was all over the place, and he was close to getting stopped. He got knocked, he went down. Knocked was like a flash knock. Went down, got up. As soon as he went down, he got back up, and he got on with the business.
The other point I wanted to make, Eugene, for you as well, that was the championship rounds. Linares is the champion. Yeah, he went down and he got up. Now, he's saying that he could have continued and the referee shouldn't have stopped the fight. What do you guys think? It was a TKO, right? It wasn't a knockout. It was a TKO, and referee stopped the fight.
Okay, Eugene, you can go first.
I would say that even if the referee would let him go on from there, after that body shot, he wouldn't win. He wouldn't change the situation in that round, definitely, if he gets out of it. And for the rest of them, there's a lot of wear and tear on him at that point. So Lomachenko would just capitalize and win it out points. Because those scorecards, they're before the 10th round, right? They're counting up to round 10. After 10 round, he got 2 extra points in his bag, and even the guy who was given Linares the upper end is now given, the even one. So I would say that that fight was practically over. Maybe ref just didn't want Linares to get hurt even more, because Linares was getting tired. You could see that he was pretty tired at that point, and Lomachenko was just getting at him. So
what do you think the next step for either of them? I mean, I think the rematch can happen. What do you think?
I want to address the body shot thing because there's some people out there that are giving Linares a lot of stick for getting hit by that body shot. Personal opinion, if you've been hit with a body shot, and for you, the only way for you to know you've been hit by a body shot is actually get hit with a body shot. When you get hit with a body shot, it takes everything out of you. If you get hit with a headshot, you can hold, grab, and you can tie up and allow your head to clear. When you get hit with a body shot, everything goes. And the shot that Lomachenko caught Linares was a fantastic shot. It's a leather shot. There's nothing there. No matter how much exercises and sit-ups you do, you can't protect it. It's a floating rib near that area. Bang, you get hit there in that area. You can't recover from that.
Well, we saw a few years ago, Thurman got caught by
the same shot.
Like, what was his name?
Colazzo.
And he was winded.
Exactly. No matter who you are in the world, you get hit with a shot like that. I mean, the fact that Linares even got up was amazing. And the time when he got dropped and he got up from that body shot, it was amazing. So that's a credit to the type of champion Linares is. But he wasn't going to win the fight from that point. When you get hit with a shot like that, like I said, it takes everything away. And all that's going to happen is a sustained beating. What would have happened then? So any possibility of a rematch, had that continued, that would have cancelled out any possible, because the beating would have come after that would have been, well.
Yeah. Well, the thing that Lou DiBella said, a lot of people were saying that Linares quit, which is very weird, because quit is when you actually quit. You tell the refs to stop, you tell your corner to stop, you know. The ref just waved it off.
Freedom man quitted.
Yeah.
As what was definitely quitted. So that's quit.
And the other thing is, Lou DiBella, I think, said it, you know, that if you ever get that shot, you know, delivered to you, you'll understand that he did nothing wrong and he's not there to die for you, you know. Because basically he got up and the ref just looked at him and took the decision. Linares wasn't calling for it. So those people just can go screw themselves.
Eugene, do you think the referee, apologies if it didn't come through earlier, obviously as the current championship rounds, do you think the referee should have allowed it to continue, maybe for whatever, regardless of what would have happened? Do you think he should have allowed him to continue?
Exactly that night, I watched another fight, was not in boxing, but in MMA. The UFC night was happening. So after Lomachenko fight, I watched that. And they had the last fight where a girl practically turned around and said to her team, "I want out. I can't do this anymore." And her team talked to her into staying, and she got her face smashed out with terrible cuts from a knee and punches. If, you know, basically ref just saved him, because some people have too much heart for their own good.
But this is also Linares we're talking about. He's a 4-time world champion. I've seen him at close quarters in Vegas in the gym. And, you know, he's a formidable champion. So I just feel that I have to lean with him, because we've seen many champions given that extra 30 seconds a minute.
Okay, Gatti Ward, we've seen it. Gatti gets hit with a body shot. Was it Gatti got hit with a body shot, or was it Ward? Can you
I think it was Gatti.
Gatti got hit with a tremendous body shot.
Yeah.
And Ward steaming into him.
Yeah.
But he's able to get it together.
Yeah, absolutely. He might get a second wind or something like that. I mean,
but in the 10th round, he'd already taken a sustained beating before that. I don't know. I don't know. And the thing is, it's not like Linares is a young man.
No,
so, and he's been in a lot of hard fights, Linares.
He's battle scarred.
He's battle scarred. If he was a young man, maybe I make excuse him, but if he was a younger man, maybe. But he'd been through a lot, you know, Linares.
But we're talking maybe just to give him the benefit of the doubt, another 30 seconds, another minute, whatever, you know, to the end of the round, see how he was. That's what I'm saying. He's the defending champion, 4-time world champion. Yeah. You know, so
how soon is too soon is the question, isn't it? You know, it's that thing where your guy gets hit with a shot, he goes down late in the fight. But then what's the referee seeing? Is the referee seeing, look, this guy is breathing heavy. This guy's taking more punishment than necessary. He doesn't look like he's going to get back in this fight. He's blown his bolt. He doesn't look like he's punching the same power as he was punching earlier. I mean, the referee sees a lot more than we on over the TV, or even those ringside can see, because referees can see everything. So maybe the ref saw something there that was, no, this guy can't continue, or it can't continue, or let's save him for another day. Let's save him for a rematch.
Well, this is what I'm saying. What is next for these two guys then? Is it a rematch, or do they go and fight other people?
It's not going to be a rematch for Lomachenko, definitely. Lomachenko has, I think, a venue in LA booked for 25th of August. Yeah. And everyone is talking about fighting Beltran, right, for WBO. As for Linares, Bob said that at this point it's not interesting, but they can look at the possibility of that happening should Linares do something, to basically say, I'm still there.
Listen, Beltran, I know Beltran, I've spoken to him a lot of times. He's a nice guy. He's got a beautiful left hook on him. But you're talking levels now. Now, all due respect to Beltran, but if Linares can get the job done, and Linares is big and he's very talented and he's got good footwork and he's got good hand speed, good power, both hands, I just don't see. I think Beltran he'll get peppered and he'll get bamboozled. He'll be doing this, and he's going to be here, and Lomachenko will be over there. Absolutely. He'll clown him. That sort of guy like Beltran, Beltran's great if you stand right in front of him and you have a tear up with Beltran. Beltran's great if you're right in front of the pocket, Beltran, and you can get them big left hooks off. Beltran's great, but you start giving Beltran movement. But just look at look at the fight of him against Crawford.
So when Lomachenko says that he would do it again with Linares, are you saying, Eugene, you think this could be maybe in 6 months to a year's time then?
Maybe at least a year. It depends on where they will go with Garcia as well, because it seems to me that Bob Arum, he said basically one thing that we know that Garcia will ask a lot, and I will just leave him if he's not my number. He can call me or whatever, but I'm not going into negotiations with him. Like, I'm not coming to his doorstep, asking for the fight.
I wonder if Linares could end up fighting Garcia first.
I just thought that myself. That's a possibility. That's a possibility. I could see that. Linares fighting Garcia for Garcia, then they'll say, well, let's see if you can do it quicker than Lomachenko did. That sort of thing. People like that sort of thing where they can compare the two fighters.
And the thing is, Eugene, I probably agree with you. I mean, if it's another year from now, think about it realistically. Linares will be 36 by then.
Yeah, it's a pointless fight by then.
It's
a point. I think it's a pointless fight because okay, what's he rematching him for? What would be the point? I don't understand it. If it was going to be a rematch, it'd have to be an automatic rematch. But I mean, who would fans prefer him to fight? Would the fans prefer him to fight someone like Tank Davis? Like Mayweather wants him to fight Davis next, doesn't he? Tank, and I'm sure people would rather him fight Tank than fight Linares again.
Do you think that's just a bit of PR? Because I'm not sure Tank's.
No.
I think he'll build. I think Mayweather's a clever business guy.
And Mayweather, it seems to me he's super tired of Tank. And
there you go. I think so too. I think
a few days ago or a week, I saw Davis doing his thing and running his mouth, basically saying that I'm being promoted or being something like that, by a guy who doesn't care about me. He asked about all my checks and whatever. But he didn't mention the name, but that he's talking trash against Mayweather.
I think he's talking about Floyd, but I think the third person he's probably talking about, I believe, is Al Heyman. So, but
the thing is,
but you deal with that in-house, right? Not on the open forum.
Well, let's put it this way: if we saw what happened the other day with Saddam Ali and the opponent that was brought in, 6 foot, almost like a middleweight in there against a welterweight, and he got smashed to pieces, and this is the defending champion. It can happen. It's not like it can't happen. And Mayweather promotion could do it just to teach Tank Davis a lesson. Do something like that.
Yeah,
I could see that happening. Promoters are quite happy to take the money just to show a fighter something. Sometimes they get fed up with fighters. You know what? We're fed up with you. Go fight Lomachenko.
I think Lomachenko is obviously we know that he's a formidable fighter, you know.
But people would pay to see that fight, faster than the fight Linares. Like, you think?
But I think realistically, Floyd would probably not want Tank anywhere near Lomachenko for at least a couple of years. And he's young, right? What is he? 22, 23?
That depends on if Floyd and him actually getting on.
Oh, true.
If Floyd and him ain't getting on, Floyd say, "Hey, I've invested my money. I want money back from you."
And to be honest, I mean, normally on a PR level, you would see somebody like Tank in the Mayweather gym, but I've not seen anything probably since the Liam Smith fight. No, not Liam. Liam
Walsh, yeah.
I've probably not seen anything emerge photo-wise of.
There you go. There you go.
Them together.
There you go. There you go.
So that's what, a year ago.
Yeah.
Before Liam Walsh.
Look how things were between Floyd and Broner at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then now look how sensation is just.
Well, it was at his last fight, right? He turned on Leonard Ellaby. Big time.
Yeah, but there's more to it than that, you know. There's more to it than that. When he's talking about, oh, you guys want to see me get beat. You guys ain't here for me. You ain't here for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's more to it. And I'd love to know if there's a report that can really get on inside and really ask what really is going on. But I think that's dirty laundry coming out that maybe where the promotions don't really want to talk about unless people have talked about it.
And to remind how the rhetoric changed, because at least a year ago, when people were talking about Lomachenko fighting Davis, Floyd was saying that we're more interested in building up that bank account. You know, we are not in a rush. He basically was kind of ducking without admitting it. You know, he was saying that this is not what we were interested in. We have our own plan going on. All of a sudden, everything changes. And he says, yeah, we would fight him. Yeah, definitely, no problem. And even Davis, you can see after, what was the last fight he had? Knocked out a guy, what was his name? Don't remember.
You mean the champion he fought?
Yeah, just now.
Yeah, for WB, no, yeah. For Bacon WB.
Last month, right?
Yeah, oh, I know him as well.
Jesus Marceno Andres Keller?
Jesus, not
Marcelo.
Yeah.
That guy. Yeah, basically after that fight, they were talking, like the guy jumped into the ring, the interviewer, and was asking what's next. And he asked, maybe you would fight Lomachenko? There was silence. So he's like, maybe you'll want to unify with Farmer, who is about to have a fight for IBF, I believe, because the other champ got stripped. So, and he immediately jumped onto the Farmer opportunity rather than Lomachenko. So you see that his promoter is saying, yeah, we would like to fight, but the guy is keeping his mouth shut. There is clear disconnect between them, and you can see where it's going.
One of the questions, there are people in the room, and apologies to those people that are in the room. We will get to you. We will get to you, we promise. I think there's a few. Have you seen the people in? Do you want to do the questions in the room, Eugene, or do you want me to do them?
Whatever. Can throw a few at me.
Okay, let's go up. Let's go right up. Wow. Kenny Bwtm 92. Lomachenko is a legend and has better resume than Crawford. 3-8 champion in 10 fights. Rigondeaux, Linares, and Walters are better wins. Pound for pound, great. 430 wins, 2 losses. Not even Ali comes close. If Lomachenko goes on to beat Mikey Garcia, Gervonta Davis, then he will make his name even greater. Crawford unified in a weak division. Want to see him do the same at 147, then 154 to be on the same level. What do you think of that, Eugene?
I believe that Crawford has the same arch nemesis in Errol Spence as Lomachenko right now has in Garcia. So it's the question who will rise to the occasion and you know, come out as a victorious guy, because in other like instances, first of all, I don't see them fighting because both of them got a lot of investment in them, so they will be separated for pretty much forever. I think, because Crawford, if he's successful at 147, will not be going down the weight.
I mean, he started at 135, right? So he's not a light middleweight. He's not a super welterweight. He's not 154 fighter. And the other thing is, Crawford can only fight the guys in his division. So it's fair enough, you know. Kenny, you mentioned all these names, which is great, but you know, Lomachenko's got these fighters in those divisions to fight. But if you don't have the big names,
once he hits the 147 poundage, it's a different proposition. Well, you've got
the names.
Porter, you've got Thurman, you've got Spence, you've got what's his name?
Amir Khan. Potentially, even I think Kell Brook would come back to 147 if it was the right fight.
If you think about it, he's got a lot of fighters there, Crawford.
Danny Garcia.
And you've got to ask you the question. Mayweather's not stupid. He made a statement. I remember him saying just before before they were talking about Pacquiao, Crawford, and he said, "You know what? Be careful. Pacquiao hits mighty hard." I don't know if Floyd's had whispers about what Crawford's durability is like, because I remember him fighting Gamboa and Gamboa buzzing him down in a low weight division. You just wonder what would happen if an Errol Spence hits Crawford or a Keith Thurman hits Crawford, you know, or even a Danny Garcia connects to that left hook. What Crawford can do against a 147 pounder that can actually box. How does he do against those guys now? It's all right doing it against guys that you're physically stronger and bigger than, or guys that you know you're more skillful. And now you're moving to a position where you're fighting someone like Spence, who's just as skillful as you, but is physically a lot stronger. And guys like Spence now are like middleweights down at welterweight. That's how I see Spence. Do you know what I mean?
Just very quickly, how do you see that fight going against Jeff Horn? He's got to beat Jeff Horn first, right? Yeah,
he's got to beat Jeff Horn. The thing with the Jeff Horn fight is it's quite simple. Jeff Horn is not outboxing Crawford. The question is, can Jeff Horn out hustle Crawford? Can he out muscle Crawford? Can his physical strength overpower Crawford? Has he got the punching power to stop Crawford dead in his tracks? Has he got the strength to kind of nullify the fact that Crawford's got all this skill? If he's got that, then fine. But if Crawford's speed and switch hitting and skills don't allow Horn to throw them big shots, it's going to be a massacre in there.
And he does come in a straight line, doesn't he? So
of course,
which will play to Crawford's strengths.
It all depends on. It's really down to Crawford, really, because Horn's only hope for me in the fight is his physical strength, because he's not outboxing Crawford. So if he can't impose his physical strength on Crawford,
and it'd be interesting to see, because you mentioned that about Crawford's strength. It'd be interesting to see if he carries now from 140 pounds to
147.
147.
Because remember, those guys are coming down. You know, middleweight coming down. It's a different proposition than fighting guys, you know, a light welterweight. Now you move up to welterweight. That's what, it's 147 pounds there. A lot of things can happen in 7 pounds. Have you still got that same speed that you had at 140? You know, what's your durability like? What's your physical strength like? Yeah, some guys can move up in weight and do brilliantly.
Just quickly, do either of you guys see somebody like Spence Jr. at 154?
I think Spence can go up to middleweight. Frankly, I think he can go to middleweight. I think he can. I don't know how successful it'd be at middleweight, but I think he can go to middleweight.
I think you still carry the power to 154.
See, for me, Spence is a very good fighter. I love his trainer, Derek. I get on with him very well. I still got concerns with Spence. I think still he gets hit a bit too often for me. He seems vulnerable to the left hook. He seems vulnerable to the left hook. Right, yes, he seems vulnerable to the left hook. He does get hit a bit. He does pull back in straight lines at times. And he doesn't move his head as much as I like to. Those are things and I love Spence. But even with guys that I love, I still like to say, all right, I don't like to kind of put blinders on fighters. I say, you know what, I love him, but these are the things I'm concerned about him. And you know, how far can you get away with doing that against guys like, you know, against guys who really can bang? How do you do it? I mean, people say Brook
would you say him and Thurman have got the? I think they're very similar in styles.
I think they've got the great chemistry. I think they're both that fight has got great chemistry to it.
But when you say like not moving the head and the movement there, I think they're the same, except Spence is southpaw and
Thurman, I've been watching Thurman for a long time before he became big time Thurman. Now, Thurman, before he'd just blast shot because he had the power to do it. Thurman nowadays, or he lost since the shoulder injury, what he does, the first couple of rounds, he has a look at you and sees whether if he can take you out. If he can't take you out, he gets onto the back foot. He's back foot Thurman. Yeah. So he starts to catch you off the back foot and then occasionally jump in big wild hooks. But he likes to fight everything off the back foot. Once he knows he can't hurt you that way, he'll get off the back foot. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Because if he starts feeling Spencer's power early to the body, we'll see how it goes. Because Spencer's a very good body puncher, better than Porter, better than Garcia. This guy is deliberate when he's landing them body shots, and if he's getting hurt by Collazo, and God, you can only wonder.
Another quick curveball question for you guys. Obviously, we know Keith Thurman has recently vacated the WBC belt, but he said himself he's only a few months out, so he's going to be back in the summer. So, as the WBC, do you think they should have given him enough time to return rather than making him vacate the belt? And what do you think the reasoning for that is? Obviously, we know we're talking about Garcia versus Porter in that fight, but do you think they should have given him, it's 3 months? We're in May now. If he's back in the summer.
That WBC belt, he's a Heyman fighter, right?
Thurman?
Yeah. He's definitely a Heyman fighter.
I'm not sure.
I'm sure he's a Heyman fighter.
Eugene, is he a Heyman fighter?
I'm sure he's a Heyman fighter. He was Heyman the last time I remembered it.
I think he's with Bob Arrow.
No, Thurman's with Heyman. He's a Heyman fighter. Remember? Because Heyman brought all them welterweights up.
I haven't seen him fight on PBC, though.
No, he's a Heyman fighter.
Eugene, do you know?
He's definitely a Heyman fighter, Thurman.
I'll Google it right now for you.
Okay.
Sorry, said Mark Smith Spence isn't a middleweight. According to his trainer, Derek James, he does middleweight and comes from middleweight down to welterweight. That's his trainer, Derek James, told me that. That's not me making it up. That's Derek James, who, those who watch the channel know I've got a very good relationship with Derek James. So I've never met Errol Spence. He says to me he can make middleweight because they were talking about moving to middleweight to fight Gennady Golovkin, and that was a very serious thing.
So is he? You saying he's coming from somewhere like 170 down to 147 then?
Middleweight, super middle down to welterweight. That's what he was telling me.
I think he can comfortably go up to 154, and I still think he carries his power. But whether
because there are people in the middle. He's like, I remember there was a
conversation them as well, right?
Yeah, with middleweight.
It says Al Heyman.
Yeah,
he's with Al Heyman.
Yeah.
There's a manager Al Heyman and promoter Golden Boy Promotion.
Yeah, so the whole WBC thing, you've seen it before. Al Heyman instructing his fighters to drop belts. Now, we don't know if the next Errol Spence move is to fight for the WBC title. And he may have, I don't know who is Thurman's mandatory for the WBC at the moment. Because if it's Errol Spence, you can see why the belt's been dropped.
Well, I thought because even prior and after the loss to Canelo, Amir Khan was #1 mandatory. And then obviously he had hand surgery and so on.
Yeah.
Now, I was thinking that this has been done in a move to get Danny Garcia fight Amir Khan. But then I heard a few reports that it's actually Danny Garcia versus Sean Porter.
Yeah.
But Porter was saying Garcia doesn't want this fight. So I don't know. Could it end up then being Amir Khan versus Porter?
Okay, so the mandatory for...
the WBC is vacant now. The title has been vacated, so it's a vacant title, so it's not Thurman's title anymore.
Yeah, but the mandatory was Danny Garcia,
right?
And Sean Porter #2. So basically,
but, shout out to Chris Mason who's in the room. Chris, if you want to jump in as well, feel free, my friend. We'd love to have you on the show as well. Let's see.
Guys, if anybody's joining from my hometown, Gravesend, Kent, anybody on my friends, please send your questions to these guys. We'd love to hear from you.
This is your show as well, brother. So just yeah, hold on. Let's get Chris. Get Chris Mason. You guys keep talking. I'm gonna try and get Chris in the room.
Okay, what was the other question? Absorbing the research already.
Gonna get Chris in the room.
So yeah, we were talking about basically the question was Crawford and Lomachenko, who is the top guy, right? who done more. I believe that the names that Lomachenko claimed so far are not, like, Linares was the biggest win to this date, because Linares didn't jump 2 weights up like Rigondeaux did, and he wasn't out of the ring for over a year like Walters did, right? So everything was in place. You can say, well, he wasn't undefeated, but then he was on the winning streak for 6 years, which is, you know,
Linares, right?
Yeah, Linares.
Yeah, absolutely. I think his last defeat was like 2013.
2012, I believe.
Yeah, and this is when he was taken on by Ishmael Salis, because at the time he was under Freddie Roach.
Okay. Chris said he'd love to come on, but he's got to get up early morning. He's off to bed. Chris, can't you just come on for 5 minutes, mate? Just come in, say hello, and disappear.
We all got to get up.
We all got to get up early in the morning. Just come on for 5 minutes, man. Just 5 minutes. Come on, say hello and goodbye. I'd just love to hear your thoughts on Hughie Fury's knockout win over Sam Sexton. So if we could get on even 5 minutes of you, Chris, we'd appreciate that. But if you can't and you need to go to bed, come on, Chris, man. You could do it for Uncle Ingram. Come on, Chris, man. Come on, Chris. No way Spence is a middleweight. His trainer is talking muck. Can't believe you believe him.
Well, Mark, they're the professionals, dude, and if they're telling us he can make middleweight.
Yep, and they were serious about taking the Golovkin fight. Yeah. Listen, if Pacquiao can move up from what was he?
He was lightweight.
Come on, man. The history of boxing. Look where
126 pounds.
Look where Thomas Hearns came from. Wasn't he started his career as a welterweight? He ended his career as a cruiserweight.
Yeah, but even this feed so far, we're talking about a guy who's been a 4-time world champion, and a guy who's been a 3-weight world champion.
Look at where did Mayweather start his career? Wasn't he?
He was at lightweight.
Lightweight, and he finished fighting
like
middleweight.
Yeah, 130 pounds to 154.
Okay. And I can't. Well, he started his career as a lightweight, right?
Yep.
And can't end up fighting Canelo at middleweight, right?
Yep. And Mark, actually, if you look at the weight differential, it's only 13 pounds, dude, from 147 to 160.
Ask yourself the question: how much he weighs come fight night? How much does Spence weigh come fight night? You'll be surprised.
170.
Well, I think so. Ayo does make a point. Once you start moving the weight, you lose your advantages. You say that, but see, Pacquiao didn't seem to lose his advantages moving up in weight. I think that's Mr. Mason. That's what we want to see. Bit of Mason.
You're a bad man.
I'm a very bad man. I'm a very bad man.
You just jumped on the bed down, right?
I'm in my pit, man.
That's it, bro. To have you in the room is an absolute honor. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. You?
I'm good. Chris, for everybody in the room who doesn't know quite whom you are, this guy that I'm talking to in a bed in a very erotic manner. Quickly let people know who you are.
Yeah, my name's Chris Mason. Mainly would be known from the world of darts and TV and different aspects of the media, but used to box a bit back in the day. A bit of a naughty boy, but now just a huge boxing fan. Do a bit of work for Seconds Out, and obviously come on your show as often as I can.
Great stuff. Chris, very quickly about the darts. Give us a quick rundown. What's going on with the darts with you?
Tomorrow I'm off to Live Darts, which is an online magazine show that's sort of a YouTube show. I'm going into London to film for them tomorrow to prompt the finals of the Premier League, which is at the O2. Total sellout on Thursday night, live on Sky Sports. I will be working for the main Talk Sport channel, covering that.
Fantastic. Fantastic stuff as also, Chris. I know you've got to get to bed. I know we've all got to get to bed. Very quickly, let's talk Hughie Fury's performance against Sam Sexton.
Yeah, you know, we've got to keep it a little bit relative. It is Sam Sexton, a proven loser.
Really? It's Sam Sexton. Wait, not Goliath. It's Sam Sexton.
No, like, you know, it's a real big step backwards for Hughie, but I get why they picked him. He's a known name in the British scene. He was the holder, I show. So yeah, I sort of get the fight. It's a big step backwards. Maybe give him a bit of confidence, what he needs. It was a decent enough stoppage. but it was Sam Sexton. You know, I can't give him, you know, credit for stopping him in the way he did, but overall, Sam Sexton very limited. You can't go from fighting for a world title to go down so many levels and expect me to jump up and down about it. It was no Linares Lomachenko. Let's put it that way.
That is pretty brutal, Chris. That's brutal, and it's savage, and it's almost 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah, good night.
Yeah, good night. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Good night. We're out. We're out.
Yeah, I mean, you know, listen, you know, I'm a big Peter Fury fan. I'm a fan of the Furies. They come from my background.
Yeah,
we have a fair bit in common. But I was pleased to see him out. I was pleased to see him looking strong and almost over the health problems he had. He looked like a heavyweight, probably for the first time in his career in terms of his physique. He looked strong. He's only 23. He's still a baby for a heavyweight. I think we get a little bit carried away with the likes of Mike Tyson and what he achieved by the time he was 20. He was a freak of nature. But all credit to him. I'm pleased for the family. I'm pleased for Huey that he's back in action. I hope they keep him busy. But he needs stepping up, you know, and stepping up quite a few levels and quite quickly. Why doesn't he fight Joyce Dubois?
Oh, it's a question about Joyce. Now, I understand people want to see the fight against Joyce, but was it a fight ago? People weren't talking much about Joyce. Joyce knocks out Leroy Thomas. You got to put into perspective, who was Leroy Thomas? Leroy Thomas got his sort of name in the UK because of Dave Allen.
You're correct.
But then you saw what Joyce did to Leroy Thomas.
Yeah.
We talk about levels.
Yeah, but
we should fight.
I'm not having it with Joyce about him being a 4-fight novice. You know, I've been watching this guy for years and years and years. He's fought with the right size gloves, no head guards, longer rounds. You know, he's not a novice. He's not a 4-fight novice. He's quick enough to holler Derek Chisora's name out and anyone else that, you know, he doesn't want to fight. He's learning very quickly off of David Hay. He's as slow as mud. All his punches are wide. A decent-sized heavyweight with good technical ability beats him very easy because he doesn't hold a shot. He's been beaten by some small guys and put over. Usyk absolutely schooled him.
So what you're basically saying is you would take the fight if you were Huey Fury?
Absolutely, 100%. Nothing there to fear whatsoever. He's banging over absolute nobodies at the moment. Leroy Thomas is no great shakes. We've seen enough of him to know he's not anything, you know. That's a bit like judging Fury off of Sexton.
I agree with you.
Ultimately, Fury's performance was too negative against Parker. If he'd have fought against Parker the way he fought against Sexton, he'd have won the fight handily. But, you know, I know you have a different opinion on that fight. I've watched it a few times. It was close. I can't give it to Fury. He didn't do enough. But I get why some people do think he won, but not for me.
Okay.
Chris, quick question.
Oh, Chris, Palm. Yeah. Chris.
How are you?
Palm. I know he is.
It's the face, right? Not the face. Chris, just a quick question for you. I interviewed Steve Goodwin a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Basically said that as Chisora's manager, money aside, they don't think there's any value in fighting Joe Joyce, right? He's 4-0, or he is now 4-0. At the time, he was. Could you not say the same for Huey Fury? Because I don't know what he is. He's probably 20-0 or something. But what value is what value is there for him to fight somebody like Joe Joyce or Daniel Dubois? Well, and to be fair to him, you're right. He did fight Joseph Parker for the world title, but he's not really in the shout with the likes of Joshua, because Joshua's the one now holding pretty much all the belts, right? So he's not going to be in that sort of mix anyway. But fighting Dubois, I mean, Dubois is what, 6-0, 7-0?
Yeah. But Dubois is a big puncher, but he's yet to prove to the world if he can take it. He's yet to prove to the world what he does against someone who can take his power, and what does he do against guys who can move. So Dubois is still very young, very, very young. Joyce be a good fight. I understand what Chris is saying about Joyce being a good fight. For me personally, if I'm Huey Fury, I go straight after the European champion. It gets me higher up in the rankings. Yeah, the guy that he's got as European champion, Derek Chisora, isn't that great. He's decent, but Huey's got the good footwork. He's got a nice jab, good right hands, good uppercuts,
good reflexes.
Not Erkan or somebody?
Not Erkan, the new guy. He's the guy that beat Chisora.
Yeah.
He's what, Chris?
Yeah, I know you're on about. That was the one out in Monte Carlo, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was Derek all over in that fight, though, and Derek needs big fights to get up for it. I mean, he gave Dillian a decent enough scrap, and that was a close enough fight. I think the hype surrounding Joyce and the hype around Fury, I don't think neither are going to get the big fights because they won't do the kind of tickets. I mean, they all want to make the mega money, but neither are going to. And for me, the biggest fight out there for both in terms of revenue, which is what most fighters are all about, surely that's the biggest revenue fight out there for both of them. I agree with what you're saying, Ingram. I like to see him take a step back, maybe go through the traditional route, go after that European belt, prove himself at that level, and then maybe he can step up and fight again for another title. But is he a big enough name? He's not Tyson. He stunk the joint out against Parker, and people tend not to forget that.
You know what? I would take Huey today to fight Povetkin at this point of his career. I'd fight Povetkin.
Yeah, Povetkin looked. I know he got the knockout against Pricey, but he looked awful.
This one's,
he's 38. He looks there for. He looks ready to be beaten, and that's a big name to have on your resume. And people will still think of him, you know, as the guy that gave Klitschko a good fight. So
I take that fight. Long arms, good reach.
Oh yeah,
I think a good fighting Joe Joyce would be for the Commonwealth title as well. But I'll tell you another fight that springs to mind is maybe Huey versus Dillian White.
That would be a good fight.
Yeah, that'd be a great fight. But again, will it do enough money for Dillian? It's risk reward. I mean, Dillian White is going to get a world title fight on the back of wobbling a known dodgy jaw in Joshua, and he's living off of that one moment in that fight where predominantly he got absolutely rinsed from the first bell to the last bell, and he's getting all of this off the back of that. You know,
Chris, you're on fire. Chris, you're on fire tonight, son. You're on fire.
Sleep, mate.
You're on fire.
Hey, I'm tired, right? It's mind blowing.
Brilliant.
So I think it should definitely have you working for Sky punditry and tell everyone that they're finished, just like Naz does.
Well, I think most of us are, you know, the hype train that surrounds AJ and the hype train. You know, we thought it was bad enough with Jim Watt back in the day, but for me, Sky are just getting continuously poor and poor and poor, and they just kid the viewers. And they are casual people that have just started tuning in and watching boxing that think, you know, the fighters they put on their cards are the second coming, and they're not. You know, AJ is very, very basic. AJ was exposed in that Parker fight, exposed for what he is, limited. He's strong and he punches hard. Outside of that, he doesn't have a plan B or plan C. Yeah, he didn't know what to do. He did the same thing over and over and over for 12 rounds against, let's be honest, a small limited heavyweight that went 12 rounds with Huey Fury.
The Wilder fight, should it be made? What's your thoughts and how does it go?
Wilder Joshua is just a shootout, isn't it? That's all it is. It's a shootout. Whoever lands first goes. Both of their chins are dodgy. I know heavyweights, you know, they're meant to all punch and everything else, but both of them have proven dodgy whiskers.
Well, I would disagree with you there, because at least Wilder stood up and took the shots with Ortiz, whereas Joshua went over to Klitschko.
But how much do we know about Ortiz?
He's a puncher. We know that much.
Against what level of opponent?
He knocked out Tiny Thompson.
Or
he stopped Thompson.
Yeah, old man.
Stopped Brian Jennings. Something Klitschko couldn't do.
Yeah. But I'm not. Yeah, I mean, he's an old man. We don't know how old he is. You know, he could be older than.
I know that, but I know you say all that. But remember what people, and we both agreed on it. But
yeah.
You know what we were saying? I said we said that.
Yeah, all credit to Wilder in that fight. He held up well. He had a bit of, you know, it's all about timing, isn't it? The timing of that shot, when it came, the fact that he was given another 30 seconds to recover. You know, there's so many little things. You know, he's a protected fighter because they all know, like the Alvarez and Golovkin fight is the biggest fight out there for both of them, and they'll both get protected until that fight's made. So much so will AJ and Wilder.
Chris, you know, the funny thing I was going to say.
Go ahead, go ahead.
The funny thing I was going to say, Chris, is I don't think Wilder versus Joshua happens till 2019, and I've said that all along. But the other thing is, I think he still ends up taking that 12.5 or 15 million max.
Yeah.
He's never earned more than $2.1 million.
I actually believe the fight is next. I do believe.
I think they're both, well, one of them's more arrogant than the other, and I'm on about not the fighters. I'm on about the people that look after him, right? The Hearns believe, they honestly believe AJ is the shit. I've spoke to Barry about it many times, and we've disagreed about it many times, right? I'm not having it. I think Wilder's people are fully aware he's one punch away from a disaster happening and 15 million being washed down the drain. You know, he can't sell out a venue in his hometown. What Joshua has, he could fight me tomorrow at Wembley and sell it out, right? That's the kind of following he has now, and that's it. And I don't think Hearns' team are particularly worried about making it straight away because they don't think he's beatable, right? But I'm pretty sure Wilder's people know that he's not too far away from getting rinsed himself, and it will happen. They will both get absolutely knocked cold in their career.
But at some point, the thing is, you see that right hand of Wilder? That's proof.
Oh.
That right,
that's a bomb. And it comes. Listen, I've sparred with guys that are absolute novices. They're impossible to read. You don't know what angle they're coming from. You don't know when they're going to throw a punch. And Wilder's a bit like that. He's unorthodox. He throws that right hand from a mile away, and you can't protect against it because you're not expecting it coming.
Chris, but there's one thing I will say. I'm going to ask you this question again, and I'm going to see what you say to it. Now, I always talk about Joshua, and I talk about no disrespect to him. But had his Olympic birth been in anywhere else but London, would he have been an Olympic champion?
100% not.
Then I ask you the question: if Wilder's birth was in anywhere but America, would he still have been a bronze medalist?
No.
Why?
Well, they were both. I mean, I don't know so much about Wilder's, but I watched all of that Olympics as most genuine fight fans would have done. Well, the boxing side of it, that's about all I watched. And he was gifted it because it was a typical hometown decision. You know, he was absolutely gifted it. And then you look at how that Irish fellow was treated in one of them. I mean, there's the extreme, the other side of the coin. He didn't win that. And hey, listen, I'm proud of how he's turned his life around. I'm proud of what he does as a black person in his community, coming from the wrong side of the fence. I've been there. I know what it feels like to be alienated, and I'm proud of now what he does within the community with young black people. All the knife crime going on at the moment. You know, all credit to him. But you know, this is the fight game. and I'm allowed to be a critic to a degree. Could I beat Wilder in a fight? Could I beat Joshua in a fight? No, probably. You know, I'd probably struggle against a 10-0 novice. But you know, that doesn't mean I don't know enough about the game. Having fought, I had 26 fights, so I know what it's like to get knocked out. It's like all this bullshit going about Linares and that body shot. You wait till you've been hit in the liver with someone who knows how to throw a body shot. It's more concussive than being hit in the head. I tell you.
This earlier on, did I not?
Yeah,
exactly.
It's awful.
A lot of these people say they've never been hit with a body shot. When you get hit with a body shot.
Yeah.
Hey, like I say about most people on the internet talk about boxing, they've never fought. They need their chin checked, and then they might start talking some sense.
Ingram, you know, you said you're saying the fight is next, but Chris, I believe both of them, even though it's not 100% confirmed. I think Wilder is supposed to be fighting Brazil. Joshua is supposed to be fighting
Bwtm.
Joshua said the next fight in an interview about 3 days ago. He said, "My next fight is Deontay Wilder. I'm preparing for it now." He said it in an interview.
I still don't think it happens. I don't think it happens because Wilder wants, in his own mind, that guy wants at least 50%. He wants that 50 million. And you watch, by 2019, he will still accept the same deal now.
But what you got to remember is all the money that he thinks this fight generates. What you got to remember, if it's on Sky, they take 50% of the pay-per-view sales. Does it do 90,000? Does it do 90,000 again? What kind of money does it generate by the time Matchroom and everybody else have taken their slice of the pie? And what AJ will want and his team will want. How much is left? I don't think there's much more left than 15, 20 million.
No. And you're right, Chris. He's in his own backyard. He's sold out, I think, 6,800 tickets. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. No, it did. Who did that? Who did that heavyweight? That was a bit of a prospect fight. It was Joseph Parker. He's trained by the same guy. Did he fight Brazil last?
Who's that?
He was Joe. He's on Joseph Parker's team. He was meant to be a heavyweight prospect.
Oh, Izu Igono.
Yeah, did he fight Brazil in his last fight?
Not by Brazil.
Yeah, but he was rinsing him money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, here we go.
He's not a big heavyweight though, isn't he? He's more.
He's tiny.
He's like more like Huey, right?
Yeah,
16.
Yeah, he's small for a modern heavyweight. He's small. He's like one of these another 15 stone odd guys. Although Wilder is only 15 stone. He's like his legs must weigh about 2 toothpicks.
Wilder's like an arcade game. He literally is like an arcade game.
It reminds me of Tommy Hearns.
There you go.
How did Tommy Hearns ever make welterweight?
We were just having this discussion. People saying to me, "There's no way Spence could be a middleweight." I said, "Spence could easily be a middleweight."
Yeah.
I mean, it's not
the same way Golovkin could fight at 168 and 154.
There you go.
And like Callum Smith, how the hell does he make?
Yeah, I sat next to him for an hour at a fight, and he made me. I'm not small. I'm like 6 foot and 205 pounds. He made me feel like I was fucking tiny. Wow. I mean, that guy is huge, literally physically huge. I was saying to him, how on earth do you make that weight? Unbelievable how he does it, but they find a way.
We might as well get to that point while you're at it. Chris Eubank Jr., the Bwtm semi-finalist, fighting in the final.
Well, I've loved this whole competition with the super middles, the cruisers. If that happens, I won't be watching it because it's made it a pointless exercise. What was the whole point? This was to find effectively the best super middleweight on the planet. Well, I'm sorry, it's made a mockery of it. Put it back. Wait to have the two guys that have rightly made it to the final, and let them duke it out. Chris Eubank Jr. brings nothing. He's been exposed. He's like O'Hara Davis. They've been exposed, and that's why people now are queuing up to fight him.
Now, let me ask you this question. Why don't they use Jürgen Bremer? He was in the tournament, pulled out with flu, and Callum Smith and him were meant to fight.
Exactly, and he's fit and ready to go.
Why not have Jürgen Bremer?
Yeah, but yeah. Someone's getting a big kickback, or Bremer wants too much money. Eubank wants the exposure. We know he's a media whore.
I think as I said to you the other day, I think, Chris, because they've got the venue probably secured, they don't want to lose the deposit, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
but
true.
I think as soon as they put Eubank Jr. and Callum Smith, even though we don't think that should happen, that will sell. That will sell straight away.
Oh, it'll sell, but
Bremer versus Callum Smith.
Yeah, but it keeps the
credibility
and the credibility of the tournament in place.
Yeah, but whenever the promoter's done it for that reason.
Well,
true that.
So in that case, if Usyk loses, if Usyk were to get injured or Gassiev were to get injured, get good doctors and bring him in.
Well, I've heard Usyk doesn't want to fight over there, does he?
Yeah, no, he doesn't. He doesn't. The whole Russia thing, he doesn't want to do that.
No. Can
you?
No, they'll do a Lucas Brown on him or something, or whatever happened to that other guy.
You can't blame him.
I mean,
I wouldn't be fighting over there.
I can drop some more insight into that.
Go on.
Would be.
And basically, the Minister of Sports, I believe, in Ukraine was saying that Usyk got visited by Russian representatives.
Oh.
And they were... in his training camp in, I believe, in Spain. So he got an offer to fight in Russia, and he said, "Well, it's gonna cost you." And they asked, "How much would it cost us?" And he said, "I like number 17," and they turned around. So basically, he does not see it as a valuable, like it's not a feasible option for him to fight there.
No.
Basically, because he will the only chance of him winning is winning by points. I don't think anyone has illusions of him getting out, knocking out Gassiev.
Yeah, no.
And the other problem is, if you watched what kind of a cold greeting Vladimir Klitschko received in 2013 when he was fighting Bwtm, you would understand that after a few incidents with between Russia and Ukraine, that will not go so good. You know, he will be against in a hostile environment where he's there only to lose. They're not. They wouldn't want any other result, right?
Yeah.
So
it's a tough fight. It's a tough fight anyway. But going out there makes it almost impossible.
yeah, and basically, Gassiev, on the other hand, he can fight anywhere because he has the knockout victory. That's his way.
Yeah, he's not going to worry about judges.
Yeah, so he said, you know what, I can go to the moon and have a fight there. I don't care, right? So, but that's the thing. Yeah, they were basically pulling the state money to get that fight happening in Moscow. And I suggest, you know, basically show them the door.
Wow.
Nice.
It's going to be interesting to see how that pans out.
Don't want to keep you much longer because I know you've got to bed.
Yeah.
Wife and kids. You need to get on to the wife and kids. The box, as they say. So, just before we end, your thoughts. Oh, Tyson came out tonight on the subject of wife and kids. Yeah. Tyson came on about Tony Bellew. He says he said he doesn't want to fight Tony Bellew because he's got wife and kids. He doesn't want to hurt him because he's got to go back to his wife and kids.
Class. Hey, listen, fair play to him. That there was no shock in beating David A. When we watched that, I think we spoke and we watched that media workout. He had no legs, and we all know that the last thing an heavyweight fighter loses is his punch. The problem is you need your legs to get there to land that punch. You need the timing. Absolutely shot to shit, and no shot there. But credit to Bellew, he had to beat what's in front of him, but he has no place at heavyweight. Go and fight the winner of Usyk or Gassiev.
But he won't do that.
He won't do that. Well, he said he'd knock them both out.
Yeah, and he don't want to fight his best mate Joshua either, does he?
Exactly.
But he fight Tyson Fury though.
Yeah. I don't mind that fight.
Yeah,
I don't mind that fight. It'd be better than whatever Tyson's going to be served up anyway. So yeah, fight Bellew and earn a few quid.
I still can't work out why people haven't clocked on yet. Nobody has mentioned Tyson's opponent yet. He's done loads of talking, lots of talking. Tyson, who is your opponent? Like,
and isn't he fighting in about 3 weeks?
Yeah, who's your opponent?
It doesn't matter.
Who are you fighting? That's the only question I want to answer.
Hey, I've got some big news for you, Ingram.
Look, Tyson, it's great to have you back in the sport of boxing. Who are you fighting?
Yeah, it's going to be.
That's going to be the biggest question at the moment. Not what colour underpants he's wearing or what he's like in training camp. We can see that, but we can't see who the opponent is.
We have to ask his trainer, Ben. Who's he fighting? Buddy?
Who's he fighting? That's it.
Yeah, it's just going to be it's going to be more of an exhibition fight, isn't it? It's just gonna let some rust off and just have a move around.
Listen, even in an exhibition fight, you know who the opponent is.
Yeah. Maybe they don't even know yet.
Because Huey had one last year, didn't he? At the Copper Box.
He fought. What's his name? Sokolovsky.
Yeah, it was last summer, I think.
Yeah, same kind of thing.
Yeah. Now he's talking about fighting Shannon Briggs.
Hey, and if the board sanction that, they're a disgrace. Shannon Briggs shouldn't be allowed anywhere near a boxing ring. That is an accident waiting to happen. Especially against a guy who will be trying to make a statement. And Tyson will want to knock him out. And all this bullshit about Tyson can't punch, that's another myth.
Tyson can punch.
Yeah.
A good question. With Bellew, obviously looking at Tyson Fury, I think that's his last big payday, isn't it? He knows he would lose to Tyson Fury, but he knows also he could make one big payday.
Bellew believes he can beat Tyson Fury.
Yeah.
He believes it. He says he can hit and he can hurt Tyson.
Why doesn't he?
He believes it.
Really?
He's the most deluded man.
He carries power. Did you not know that? He carries power. Is he not? No.
No. But he must have been weight trained against Adonis Stevenson. Go figure.
See that rematch?
Yeah, I want to. I want to see that rematch. I paid twice the amount they wanted for a ticket to go and see that rematch. Although he's got a big fight against Badu Jack.
Yeah, I think that fight this weekend is going to be magic.
Yeah,
I can't wait for that fight.
I think Badu Jack wins. I've said it.
Yeah, I picked Jack to win.
I think he knocks actually Adonis out. I don't think people realize how good Badu Jack is.
He's getting better.
Yeah, he's class act.
He's
Absolutely
my
class
top
act.
4 favorite fighters. Badu Jack's in my top 4.
I think I'd take Badu Jack to beat Kovalev as well.
Ooh, that's a great fight. Well, I think it's so hard. I'm a huge Kovalev fan, and I was humbled with the way Ward defeated him.
I think his heart.
But Ward is special.
His heart's gone, so maybe Jack could beat him.
Yeah.
I tell you what would be a super fight: Badu Jack versus Bivol.
Oh yeah, now you're talking. See, we should be matchmakers.
It's hard to be a matchmaker. I think
people fighters wouldn't have much of a long career.
Yeah, they would. You're guaranteed the great fights. You're not gonna have a long career. You're guaranteed great fights, though. Chris, we're gonna let you go because
Thanks, pal.
But before you go, is there any final things you want to say before you?
No, just everybody who tunes in, support Ingram and his friends on the show. We're all big fans. I know there's a big pool out there of people trying to do this kind of thing, but the same thing I do on the darts, Ingram does with the boxing. He does it better. So just peace out, mate. And I hope we get on the show again soon, and I hope you get the credit you deserve.
Thank you, my friend. I really appreciate it. Again, thank you so much, Chris Mason.
Pleasure. Take care, mate.
Take care, chap.
Bye.
Yeah. Eugene.
Yeah, still here.
So sorry, my friend. Like we kind of.
It's all right. It's all right.
Love your sunglasses. So cool.
Everybody comments on them.
Eugene, little hint, like between me and you and nobody else in the world, yeah. Lose the glasses. Lose the glasses. Yeah,
Never.
it'd be good. Right, yeah, the glasses.
Yeah. So we talked in Kovalev, right?
Where are we talking Kovalev? Yeah, we are.
I said Kovalev. I said
Yeah.
I would take Badu Jack to beat him now.
Well, he's fighting Alvarez now. So
yes.
Alvarez has finally cracked his golden egg. And apparently now he needs to fight someone feasible. And he got Kovalev. So now we're gonna learn how good Alvarez was all this time, because he was talking about not getting any break. He wants that championship fight, but
step aside. Alvarez, step aside, Alvarez. You mean they had guy at about 4 steps aside 4 times against Adonis Stevenson?
Yeah, that guy. We can actually call him Crab at this point because he always just moves to the side instead of going forward. Alvarez the Crab.
Do you know, I was going to go back to Adonis Stevenson. I love Adonis Stevenson, watched him for years. Yeah. But Adonis Stevenson is fantastic if you give him leverage to throw that left hand, but he's only got a left hand.
Yeah, that's true.
Adonis Stevenson, if you look at Adonis Stevenson, all he's got is that left hand. Yes, it's tremendous, but it's only a left hand he's got. Now, you look at someone like Badu Jack who can hit you with a left hand or a right hand. If he takes the left hand away, he moves well. If he takes the left hand away from Adonis Stevenson and closes the range down on Adonis is very ineffective. He's back against the ropes.
I think he's a bit of a bigger version of how we said Errol Spence fights.
You think so?
Yeah.
But Adonis, who? Jack or
no? Stevenson Spence.
You think so?
Yeah, in terms of their style. In terms of just coming forward in a straight line.
Oh yeah,
he's got a big punch, right?
Yeah, but I would have said Jack would have been more like Spence rather than because the way Jack also works the body, very nice.
Yeah,
he works the body. He works the body very well, Jack, and he works behind a very tight guard. I think Jack's got to be very careful the way he tracks Adonis down.
Yeah,
he's got to track him down. But I think if he's used lots of feints and he's got to hit Adonis. If he hits Adonis hard and early with the right hand and he's able to hurt or budge Stevenson, the fight changes. If you can't hurt Stevenson, which I think he can, if you can't hurt Stevenson, then in that is a problem because Stevenson can start getting confident and stuff. And Stevenson, what, 40 now?
Yeah.
I can see what happened to what Stevenson did to Dawson. I can see happening to Stevenson. Yeah. You know what? He went bang and he cracked and he knocked out Dawson. He came on there.
Dawson, yeah.
He was gonna fight Froch. Froch won no part of Stevenson because he was number 1 contender for Stevenson. Stevenson was number 1 contender to fight Froch, and he kept waiting for Froch. Froch didn't want any of it. So he said, all right, forget this. I'm stepping up. So he stepped up and he went after Dawson. One shot. And I said he'd knocked Dawson out.
So quickly, who would you go for? Who are you going for this weekend?
Oh, Badu Jack.
Badu Jack.
Badu Jack.
And do you think after they've had their different fights, do you see a unification fight with Kovalev?
Who?
Badu Jack and Kovalev.
People will want Badu Jack to win, mostly because they'll know that Badu Jack is more likely to go for a unification bout.
Yeah.
And there are going to be less problems with unification as we've done with Stevenson, who for years would just stay in Canada and fight in Canada, which is fine. But it messes up the whole light heavyweight division because that's the WBC belt. It's the green belt, the most prestigious belt supposedly in boxing, right?
Yeah.
And this guy's hiding that in Canada.
Yeah.
And listen, I love Adonis Stevenson,
and he's being allowed to fight the fighters he wants to fight.
But I can't condone that behavior. I used to say to Bo Bland from Truth and Facts About Boxing, and if you're watching Bo, I used to say he was the man that beat the man. But when it comes to Adonis Stevenson, I'm afraid to say you can only stay with that for so long.
Yeah.
You then now have to be in a position where you default because you no longer are living up to those expectations of WBC or as a champion, and you just hiding that in some corner. So now what he has to do, he has to, prove a point. And even if he beats Badu Jack, even if he does beat Badu Jack, well, he beat a guy that was moving up in weight.
And people are going to actually say, well, why didn't he fight Kovalev or Andre Ward when they were fighting?
And this is the
before Kovalev lost.
Well, Kovalev, I don't think is going to want anything to do with Stevenson. And the only reason why I say he wouldn't want anything to do with Stevenson now is because the ticker has gone. I don't think, I think if anyone pushed Kovalev now in a hard, grueling fight now with that ticker, I think he reverts back to what happened against Andre Ward.
Yeah. And I think Badu Jack knows the blueprint's there. He's seen how Andre Ward's done it, and I think he can replicate that as well.
But I think I've just got, but one thing, it's how he goes about his business, Jack. Because if he walks into that left hand, it could be one left hand and the fight could be over.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean? Because he has been buzzed and he has been knocked out before.
Yeah. It's
not like he hasn't. But then since that knockout defeat, he's come back a much better fighter.
Yeah.
So that may have made, so it works both ways.
He's got some good names on there, hasn't he? Durrell, George Groves, James DeGale.
Yeah, fantastic. And he moved up and he beat up cleverly.
Yeah. Has he fought? He hasn't fought Barrera, has he?
Who?
Sullivan. Badu Jack.
Jack would beat Sullivan.
Yeah. Well, he was another top prospect, wasn't he? Until he lost to, was it Andre Ward, wasn't it? His first defeat was to Andre Ward.
Who's that?
Barrera.
Yeah. Oh, and he was Abel Sanchez trained at the time as well.
That's right.
And I thought they were using the whole Barrera thing to gauge and say, let's see how he does here. I'll have a good look at Ward and see if he's ready for a GGG fight. They don't want that. Yeah. They don't want that. They never wanted that GG fight. Unless, Eugene, you can tell me something different.
No, I don't think they would want the Ward fight. But don't you know that Bivol retired Ward? Apparently.
Of course, yeah. Bivol retired Ward and the other one retired Ward as well.
Yeah. Well, basically, since we're already on light heavyweights, Bwtm.
Yes.
Yeah, he's supposedly fighting the British light heavyweight, Callum Johnson.
Oh yeah, I heard that news. That's an interesting fight. He can punch Callum Johnson.
Yeah.
He can punch, but I mean, he can punch hard enough to knock out Frank Buglioni.
I don't think that's enough.
Well, because Frank Buglioni doesn't take punches very well. He's got a history of being a bit suspect around the chin. So nobody will sort of surprise. Him getting knocked out isn't a surprise.
And where do we see Anthony Yard in this? Because he's now, isn't he number 2 in the WBO?
Listen, Yard is going to be a work in progress. He's going to be nowhere near the world scene. He could be ranked number 1 in the world, and he can get mandatory shots. He's not going to take it. They're going to.
Oh, he turned it down. Yard turned down the chance to fight Bwtm. He said, I have only 40 amateur fights. We need more work, and they basically turned the title shot down. So
yeah, against Kovalev, right?
Yeah, I don't think
no, against Bwtm. Kovalev was trying to fight Marcus Brown. Marcus got arrested for I don't know, raid or assault or something, and they replaced him with Alvarez.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, yeah. Bivol's the one you got to watch. He's the one you got to watch. You got to watch him.
Do you think Andre? Well, I personally think Andre Ward does return. Do you think he comes back for the fight with Bivol?
No. What's he coming back to fight Bivol for? It's got to be for a challenge. So either it's to fight for the Cruiserweight Championship of the world. The challenge, I think, if Ward's going to come back, he fights the winner of the Cruiserweight Super 8.
Yeah, but we said this last week. There's a big difference between going from 168 to 175. Is he big enough to go from 175 to, what is it, 205? Or something, 200?
Well, listen, he was talking about going to fight Anthony Joshua. So if you think you're good enough to go and fight Anthony Joshua, yeah, but his trainer was talking about it.
Listen, if he was a heavyweight, I think he would beat Josh.
Really?
Yeah. No, if he was a heavyweight,
he'd have to get on the. Oh yeah, yeah, I mean, oh yeah. If he was, if he was a heavyweight,
yeah, like a natural heavyweight.
Yeah. Of course, he'd beat Josh.
Yeah, but I can't see him at 205 pounds. I just can't see him.
Talk the truth, lads. Who won? No lies, Hagler or Sugar Ray Leonard? Well, listen, I personally, I love Sugar Ray. I love the combinations and stuff and the flurries. I love Sugar Ray.
Who's
but
that? Reverend.
Yeah, the Reverend's asking.
Pickles.
Yeah, what do you? I'm going with Sugar Ray, but you know, people will say Hagler, and I understand why.
Reverend, I can't remember how old. I was a young boy. I was always a Marvin Hagler fan. At the time, I thought he got robbed. But as an older boxing fan now, Sugar Ray, he won that fight. and I'm still a massive Hagler fan.
I just love the flurries. I remember.
I think Sugar Ray outworked him.
I like when Hagler had him against the ropes. Hagler had him against the ropes. I think it's like the 11th round.
Yeah.
And he had him against the ropes, and he's fainting, and he had him in the ropes, and he just went boom, 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 and from one side of the ring, Hagler's going to the other side just by punches, not because he hurt him, just drove from one side of the ring to the other side of the ring. I remember once we got the bowler punch, and even the bowler punch. I remember the bowler punch. And I remember the 12th round. It looked like the 12th round where he flurried again, and Hagler tagged him with a shot. I don't even really did buckle Leonard. I think it was about 2 seconds to go at the end of the round, but he looked like he buckled Leonard, and the bell went. I thought, well, it would be interesting if that had gone, if that was a 15-round fight, whether Leonard would have still been around after the 12th round. But
Hagler was still trying to land the big shot, right?
Yeah. But I just love the combinations, the class combinations of what's his name of Leonard's combinations, the bowler punch, the style, the raw nerve of going up against Hagler. Yeah, you know, I loved all that. So look, Hagler could well have won the fight. I wouldn't argue
anything. He as well for a few years.
He came out of retirement.
He come out
of retirement and took on Hagler.
Took the man on.
Exactly. But yeah. Was there anything else you want to talk about, Eugene, by the way?
We still haven't talked about Triple G.
What is there to talk about?
Well, I mean, I don't know. The thing is, he fought that guy, poor lad.
That guy.
Yeah, Martirosyan.
Yes.
Poor guy. I hope they paid him well, because he definitely delivered what he was there for.
2 rounds.
But see the punch. Wait, that punch he hit Golovkin. He got a reaction out of Golovkin in the first round, didn't he?
Oh yeah.
Well, wasn't it? It was a jab.
It was right hand.
Was it a right hand?
No, right hand. Like, he landed very well.
That was a good punch.
Yeah.
It actually visibly caught Golovkin's attention.
Eugene, the only fight really for me out there for Golovkin now is the Undisputed Championship. That's the only fight out there. Against Billy Joe Saunders.
I disagree with you.
Go on.
I would love to see him fight Charlo.
Yeah, but Charlo's going to come up. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, but I'd love to see that fight. Come on. Just for pure rawness.
Yeah, but Charlo's not going to come up.
Charlo's going to talk a whole heap of crap.
Yeah.
Golovkin's not going to like it.
Yeah.
And you've got a fight there. I mean, I think you've got a fight there. I mean, is Charlo the real goods? And what a fight to come up against. I mean, to prove yourself.
Yeah, but Charlo's still doing his business at super welterweight, right?
No, I'm talking about his brother.
His brother, okay.
The brother who got knocked out. What did he call him the other day?
But they're both at super welterweight, though, no?
No, one's moved to middleweight.
Is he moved up?
Yeah, it's middleweight.
Okay, but going with the Billy Joe, who are you going for, guys?
I said Billy Joe Saunders could beat Golovkin if he had the fit, can keep the fitness for 12 rounds. That was my only concern. The only other concern is nobody in Billy Joe's career is going to hit him as hard as Golovkin will. And Golovkin will land. Golovkin will land at some point in that fight because Golovkin's skilled enough. I don't know enough about Saunders to know if he can take Golovkin power. It's all right taking Chris Eubank Jr. power and Spike O'Sullivan power and making Lemieux making him pay. Lemieux couldn't box. We knew Lemieux couldn't box. It was a puncher's chance he had, and I always stated that. But Golovkin can box and he can punch. It's just how much Golovkin's got left after the Canelo fight.
Joe's quite a big. He's a big natural middleweight.
Yeah. So was Wade, Dominic Wade. So was quite a few guys bigger than Golovkin.
Yeah, but nobody's had that evasive style. I mean, I gave the fight against Daniel Jacobs
to Jacobs. Okay,
right. But Billy Joe is. Listen, I'm not just.
I love Billy. I love Billy.
Eugene, what about you? What are you thinking, buddy? Billy Joe versus Triple G.
Billy Joe versus Triple G.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're too tied to that Canelo fight. If you're talking of possibility of it happening, I say it's pretty low. If you're talking about like whether it's a good matchup and how it goes, I would say that Golovkin would probably hurt Billy. Because
the power.
See, Golovkin is the guy who can take a punch and keep going.
Yeah,
and we've seen it with.
We're talking. Billy Joe is not going to stand in one place and trade with Golovkin.
But he's going to get nailed. He's going to get nailed in that fight because Golovkin's good enough to nail him. Golovkin will nail him. He may make Golovkin. Saunders may make Golovkin look stupid. But when Golovkin lands, it's not if, it's when he lands, can Billy Joe take it?
He's taken some of them, he's fought the Eubank Jr., Andy Lee.
Wait. Andy Lee, Chris Eubank Jr., Gennady Golovkin.
Yeah, but Andy Lee
is a light middleweight. Is a light middleweight, middleweight.
Wasn't he?
Yeah, but he light middleweight. There's a difference.
Yeah.
You don't talk about Golovkin.
But also, remember, look at Golovkin's performances recently. I mean, he's what, 36? I'm not saying he's a bit of battle scarred.
He's the right time to pick to fight.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm saying. Billy Joe is under Dominic Ingle. He's showing vast improvement.
Dominic Ingle did not save Kell Brook when Spence started landing bombs.
Yeah,
right.
I think Billy Joe takes a good punch,
and he didn't save Kell Brook when Golovkin started landing bombs. All right.
Yeah,
it's when the level starts flying in rounds 8 onwards from a Golovkin. That's my concern. Is where if Billy Joe can take the power of Golovkin, oh yeah, Billy Joe can win the fight. But he's going to have to take the Golovkin power, and that is my concern. He could win in a fight, and Golovkin lands one of them to the body or to the head, and he feels power that he's never tasted before. You just don't know. Like nobody knew what Ward could take. When Kovalev hit him with that right hand in that second round, bow, and he went down.
And
he went down. People were like, oh. And the commentator said he's never tasted power like that before. But he got up.
He got up.
And he kept fighting.
And that's what Billy Joe's got. He's got the same mentality because he believes, and this is why I'm going with him, he believes he's the #1 middleweight in the world. And I think when you have that sort of strong mentality, I think, honestly, what would you, if you had to, yourself and Eugene, if you had to call it, who would you go for?
I would go for Golovkin late rounds knockout.
I'll go Golovkin as well. Golovkin is what I know. Billy Jones is still the unknown. All these years, I still don't know how good Billy Jones is.
Billy?
12
round points.
Billy, I love you, man. I love you. But I can at least say, I can start going, I can say, right, I've seen Golovkin get hit by Canelo. I've seen Golovkin get hit by this person. I've seen Golovkin get hit by Jacob. I've seen him get hit by Jacobs. Right? He took it. He's still there. I don't know if Jacobs lands on Saunders. Does he take the power? Does he take Jacobs' power? Okay, fine. Let me see him fight Jacobs. He takes Jacobs' power. Or if he fights Charlo, did he take Charlo's power? Okay, he takes Charlo's power. Right, I know now this guy can take a shot against a big puncher. I don't worry about the Canelo fight so much, or the Golovkin fight so much. But I just don't know what his resistance is like against a real heavy hitter. Once I know that, I can say, right, now I know Billy takes shots against a guy who can really dig. Right, let's go. I think Billy can beat him because I think he can take the power if it comes his way. Like when Ward fought Kovalev for the second fight, I was sure that Ward would beat Kovalev in the second fight. I said, right, if Kovalev hit with his best shot and dropped him, and he got up, smiled at him, and continued fighting, in the rematch, I don't see much different happening. If he gets... Look what second fight. Did he nail him like that again?
Virgil Hunter, what a trainer.
There you go.
Did you hear him in the corner?
Yeah.
He went champ round by round.
There you go. There you go. There you go. So it's like putting a piece of puzzle together. I don't know how... I don't even know how Charlo responds.
But I know, Eugene, you said very quickly, you think that fight is a low chance of happening. Okay, well then who is Golovkin going to fight then? Because he wants he wants the titles. He wants that WBO title. So who does he fight next?
Listen, if he wants the titles, then he needs to keep them, and his mandatories are already bursting out the doors. His best chance, if he cannot secure Canelo fight, is either getting the Billy Joe Saunders fight as quickly as possible and going to 168. Or dropping everything and going for the winner of WBSS, World Boxing Super Series. Otherwise, he'll be tied defending titles at this point. When was the last time he defended against Jacobs? And that was for WBA. IBF will strip him.
I don't see him stepping up.
What, to super middleweight?
No.
No, I don't see it either.
I don't see him
I said this to people a long time ago. He's going to do, Abel Sanchez going to do the same thing he did with Terry Norris. Keep him fighting, pull guys down or bring guys up.
And you know, like he's looking at Bernard Hopkins, Hagler. I mean, take Hagler as an example. He fought at middleweight all his career. So
Terry Norris fought most of his career at one weight division. So
exactly.
You know,
I don't think he's interested in Canelo fight, and I don't really want to see that fight again.
What, Canelo, GGG2? I do, because I just want to see I just see Canelo and Abel Sanchez get at it again. I don't see it get at it. I just want to see that.
Here's the problem.
That's all. I like the confusion, so that's good. Somebody said talk about the Matchroom deal. I don't know what it is to talk about, because I think I broke the story about the Matchroom deal the week before. The announcement. I said that Eddie Hearn, I didn't know how much money it was going to be, but I did talk about Eddie Hearn being promoting many shows in America. I talked about, fighters possibly leaving Heyman and coming to the Matchroom. So what is there to talk about? Really, yeah, it's a great deal, but it's a huge deal. But again, they will have to be able to manage those fighters. Any fighters that transfer over, you're going to have to manage those fighters, look after those fighters. Will they be able to give them the profile? It's all right having a TV deal and all the rest of it. You still got to promote the fighters. And let's be honest, outside of Joshua and Brook, and now Khan's come over, and these are guys, well, Khan's already made fighter. Joshua, okay, fine, I've had him from scratch.
Josh Taylor? No.
Josh Taylor's not him. Who else?
Josh Kelly.
Okay, he's not a big name, is he, Josh
He's
Kelly?
not a big name.
He's not a big name.
But then who are the big names out there? They're already tied up with the Al Haymans and stuff.
Well, exactly. So my point is this. They're going to have to build those fighters. And people know Eddie Hearn more than they does Eddie Hearn's fighters. People know more about Eddie Hearn, the promoter, than they do about his fighters. It's not true. It's not a fact. Is it true? It's got to be truth. I mean, okay, Joshua, but Joshua's a worldwide no name. He's heavyweight champion of the world. So obviously heavyweight champion of the world gets natural a lot of exposure anyway. You've got Kell Brook, Amir Khan. Okay. Look, now start going for the Matchroom. Now start going for the Matchroom. Okay, so there's three guys there.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you could argue to say Brook and Khan are both damaged fighters and actually coming to the end of their careers.
Let's not forget the female boxers, Katie Taylor, who's already fought out there, right?
Okay, so Katie Taylor. Okay, would you call Katie Taylor pay-per-view star?
Probably not. Conor Benn, he's fought out there.
Yeah,
I'm just talking about. I mean, I know what you mean. Other than the outside those top three.
Yeah, that's it. So now he's got Jacobs on his books now. and he's got Miller.
Baby Miller,
Big Baby Miller. Big Baby Miller hasn't looked great. He's not fantastic. He hasn't looked great for me.
No.
I don't think he's a fantastic game, but he's okay.
Well, potentially he's the next opponent for Josh, isn't he?
Well, supposedly, but
do you think that fight happens in the States?
If they can make the Wilder fight, I think they'll make the Wilder fight first.
I think they might get that. Might be a fight they'd make in the States, but if they're really keen on making the Josh versus Wilder in the UK, then it makes no sense for Josh to fight there, does it? Yeah, because they've said all along they want that fight in the UK.
The other one fight that I wanted to talk about was Stevenson said he wants a rematch against Bellew in cruiserweights. However, he's talking some nonsense about making it at catchweight 185 or 190. And Bellew is basically telling him that he's a funny guy and he should, keep fighting in Canada or something. Because basically he said that he cannot make that weight anymore. And if, Stevenson wants a rematch, goes up to 200 pounds or does whatever he wants.
I mean, again, it's no different to Golovkin. I mean, Stevenson if he's not 40, he's close to 40. Why is he going to take that risk now? So he's going to move from 175 up to 185, 190. He's not going to do it. I don't see that fight happening.
I would like to know, more money brings more problems. I'd like to know, because they've got this great deal. Yeah, it is a song. With all this money and all this money they've generated now, will it be that Matchroom becomes an elitist, sort of like PBC, the new PBC? Could Matchroom become the new PBC?
For sure. I mean, $1 billion. PBC, I mean, they're free on terrestrial TV out there now, aren't they? And they have been for a while.
And would you call PBC a success? The guys are fighting once a year or twice a year because they're getting paid. When guys are getting paid very, very well, that also means they might not want to fight as many times a year.
Was Rigondeaux versus Lomachenko on PBC?
No, it was on ESPN.
But it was on terrestrial TV, wasn't it? It wasn't a pay-per-view fight.
No, it wasn't pay-per-view.
No, because I don't think they made anywhere near what they should have. I believe Lomachenko got paid, Eugene, under $1 million, didn't he? Or maybe roundabout.
No, I think he got paid 1.2 and Rigondeaux got like 400K, if those numbers are accurate. Because I don't believe they would lure Rigondeaux for 400K.
See, we're going to have to see the test in time how Hearn and this deal works. It's great, We'll see, how he compares to how Al Haymon has done things. We'll see. We'll just have to wait and see how the deal goes and how many fighters suffer from it. If you're not a very good fighter or, you've lost in a world title fight, you've seen it already with Joshua and the rest of the fighters in the stable. Oh, Dillian Whyte. Let's not forget Dillian Whyte with Eddie Hearn as well. So shout out to Dillian Whyte.
But I think Hearn's going to do extremely well in the USA because he's a very charismatic promoter. They don't really have anybody on par with him. If you think in the States as a promoter, who would you say
on par in terms of charismatic?
Who would you say?
Big Dog Schaefer. Go to popcorn. Not really.
No. Not even Floyd. Floyd's, he doesn't really promote the big shows.
Oscar.
Al never. Nobody knows. Well, we know what he looks like, but he doesn't do any PR. So I think Eddie's going to do really well in the USA.
What do you think?
Yeah, but he depends on who he tracks his fighters. So is he going to get more USA fighters? Is it going to be 50-50 or whatever it's going to be? So when I say 50-50 fighters from the UK going out there. So it'd be interesting to see what happens, but they've got the platform now and they've got the money as well.
Somebody says here, Hearn will have to prove that boxing is worth them keeping the NG in their platform. New gen in their platform, the new gen, Next gen, that's it. Hearn's next gen that goes on Beth Green.
6th of June.
Was it Coley Watkins, isn't it? Luke Watkins, and we've got Luke Watkins. We've interviewed him on the channel.
Commonwealth title.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to see. I think time is the biggest judge, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
But congratulations to Hearn for getting the deal. Absolutely.
Boxing, yeah, $1 billion.
You know, but no surprise though. As I said before, we did tell you we didn't tell you about the $1 billion. That bit we didn't tell you. We did tell you that. Surprise. But we did tell you that there was a new TV deal they got with a new app. We did mention that, and Heyman fight is potentially going to be coming over. He's looking to sign Deontay Wilder. That's one of the fighters he wanted to sign, and he was sniffing around for Errol Spence, so I understand. But Al Heyman re-signed Spence because Spence was asking for more money.
Right.
So there's that. Hearn's got Josh Kelly and Brooke. Didn't buy Hey Belly. It's nice feeling afterwards knowing you haven't bought a load of shit. Boxing US is dying, ratings are falling, and attendance. Hearn has a tough job, but $1 billion could do it. Just needs to sign some American boxers. I don't know if American boxers. I don't know. For me, if you're asking me to invest for money, and I was a promoter, if I'm going to invest money, I'm going to go to the Eastern Europe bloc. I'm going to go to the Ukraine. I'm going to invest. I'm going to invest my money over there. Because I'll get some talented fighters, guys that work very hard, very talented fighters, and you'll see the rise of these European fighters.
Who's that? Ayo? Ayo, I think you're right. I mean, I've spent a little bit of time in the States, and boxing isn't the favorite sport. It's probably number 6 or 7, and this is what we're doing this work for. You know, we're taking boxing to number 1, and when you've got somebody like Eddie Hearn who's pulled this out of nowhere for $1 billion. You know, he's got the platform, he's got the money now, and I think you could see a resurgence in USA boxing now.
Potentially. You got this. America is not the UK. I understood. Yeah. It's like when I went from doing coaching in the UK with cricket. It's another example.
Yeah.
In the UK, it's just the UK is very small.
Yeah.
Then you go to America. There's so many different states, different laws. Not only that, you've got also the other sports that dominate. You know, baseball, basketball. You know, those are 2 sports already.
So there's football, there's hockey,
Major League Soccer. You know, we've got that as well. You've got golf. You've got so many different sports in America.
Yeah,
that dominate. You know, the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I mean, Hearn could come nowhere near the Super Bowl. Do you understand? Mm-hmm. So you've got all these other sports. So where Hearn and what he's doing in England makes him look fantastic. When he now comes to America, he's going to find all that great stuff he did in one little small area in England. Remember, you could probably fit England into Chicago, what, 10 or 15 times over. Think that over just for a second.
Yeah, the whole of
you could fit the whole of the UK or the whole of Great Britain or the whole of Great Britain, into Chicago how many times over. Just think that a second. And that's just one state of America. How many states are there? 52 states in America?
Yeah.
Or 48, 52 states in America.
Yeah.
Think that out a second and how small England is.
California is huge.
Exactly. Yeah. So when you think that out, Hearn's got a huge job ahead of him. He's going to need all hands on deck, and he's going to need people that are going to have to,
we know sometimes contracts can be sort of broken.
Yeah.
Do you not think Eddie's like, you know, if you had to say between you guys, who are some of the names in American boxing that Eddie could potentially sign? Who do you think he might go for?
Deontay Wilder might be one, but I don't know where he's at without Heyman. How many fights he's got left in his contract? Heyman, Spence. I think Heyman should just re-sign with Heyman. Thurman would be I think Thurman would be one to try and go for.
Yeah.
I don't know how much he's got left in his contract.
People like that, Adrian Broner.
If I were him, I'd sign Rashidi Ellis. But he's just signed with Top Rank. I don't know how long his deal's left with Top Rank. I'd sign Rashidi Ellis, top quality fighter. I'd get a base out and make Ukraine, and I'd just pick up all the top fighters I got in Ukraine and just stack it with Ukrainian fighters. Eugene, what do you think of that?
Well, there is certainly a problem that a lot of talented guys just cannot get out of there, because basically when Usyk was trying to sign a contract with anyone, nobody in America wanted him. They were like, cruiserweight? No, sorry, goodbye. they signed Lomachenko and they signed Gvozdyk, who is light heavyweight, but they wanted to they wanted none of it. They didn't want to even have him as a bundle, you know, with Lomachenko, for example, in top ranks. A lot of people would, a lot of talented guys are still there, but they just cannot get out to the West.
Eugene, do you think that's because of the immigration red tape, or do you think when you say cruiserweight, are you saying that it's not like one of those glamorous divisions?
That's one. Well, this is the example for Usyk, for example, but there are other guys who will never get a contract outside of Ukraine because basically there is competition and there is not enough ways to promote yourself that you can overcome that competition. You know, it's kind of tough to sell a foreign fighter. You know, you need someone who, I don't know, guess Golovkin to be grinding stones one after another, getting those knockouts and getting into heads of people. You know.
Interesting.
I would definitely. I'd go across Ukraine, pick up all their top fighters, and bring them over.
And it doesn't have to be Ukraine only. Basically, entire
Russia.
Eastern Europe is to you.
Absolutely. And European boxing news, or the European boxing news, UA boxing news. Shout out to you guys. You always pick up our interviews. Shout out to you. And I don't know if you'd agree, but I think definitely if I were a manager and a promoter, I'd be going straight to Ukraine and across the Eastern Bloc. For me, I would be doing that.
Do you think that
I would skip America completely and go straight to Eastern Bloc.
Do you think that could be Eddie's next move?
I don't know, but I would target that. You know, I wouldn't even touch the Cuban fighters anymore. I wouldn't touch the Cuban fighters.
The only thing with that is, I think, Lomachenko is a name now, but I think some of those guys will need to be building up. Whereas Eddie, in order to sort of hit the ground running in America, he needs some big names. Yeah, but you're gonna get your worth. I think with these guys. Look, how many guys are there at the moment that in the various divisions? You know, from Povetkin at heavyweight to Lomachenko to Usyk to Bwtm. Yeah.
Okay. Who else? Bivol.
But for Eddie's job and the platform he's building in the States, in order for them to compete with these other sports, as you said, American football, baseball, ice hockey, whatever you call
But that's down to marketing. That's down to marketing, and it's down. Listen, if you've got robots working for you, then you're going to get that. But if you've got some creatives that can actually think outside the box, think outside of their university degree, and actually think outside the box, and can think diversely and can connect with the American public in a way that, you know, for example, I'll give you an example of what I mean by connect. One of the guys I'm pretty close with, I won't reveal his name, but he actually, if remembers you, the Drunken Master, the boxer, Emmanuel Augustus. He got a deal with Emmanuel Augustus, the Drunken Master, the boxer. They got him to be on EA Sports, and he was one of the fighters in Fight Night, round 3 or round 4. So he's in a boxing game, and it's sponsored by EA Sports. That game went global. Everyone knows that. So that's what I'm talking about. Getting your fighter on the cover of Sports Illustrated, getting your fighter on Conan, or getting your fighter on Jimmy Kimmel's show. That's when you know you made it. They did a great thing with Naz. Remember when Naz went to America? Yeah. They had him on all the billboards. They had sponsored with him for, was it Adidas or Nike? You know, when he by the time Naz got to the Garden, the Americans were waiting for him. But it's not
he's a name already, right?
Yeah, but he was a name, but nobody knew about him in America. That fight against Kevin Kelly was the name that blew his name up. Yeah, do you know? Because everyone heard about Naz, but by the time he got to America to fight Kevin Kelly, that's where he blew up. So, you know, people need to know it's not just about a guy that can fight anymore. It's about a guy who can fight and he can sell himself and can cross over. Are you a crossover star? Have you got that sort of personality? Can you do that? Yeah, Joshua's a big puncher and all the rest of it, but can he cross over to America? Can he be that crossover star? That's what I think is going to be key in these fighters. I mean, America's fighters are good. Look at Deontay Wilder. You know, a guy like that should be a crossover star. He's heavyweight champion of the world. Long reigning.
Like Chris said earlier, he can't even sell out his backyard.
Yeah, but his PR team is a question mark.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've said that from day one. All his backroom staff, they should have sorted that.
Okay. Yeah. Eugene, is there anything else you want to say before we end tonight?
No, it's pretty much, we covered all of it so far. There's still, you know, for those of you who don't know, World Boxing Super Series, they said they will announce what will happen with the Gassiev and Usyk fight before May 20th.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the final date. They should say where the fight will take place. Problem is, it's probably not going to be Jeddah anymore, Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Because they have Ramadan at that time and whatnot, so they might try to go somewhere else.
Okay.
Might be US, but in the US there's not enough interest to cruiserweights. So who knows? Maybe they will even go to UK.
Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Eugene, as always, thank you so much.
Oh, thank you too, Ingram. It's been a pleasure.
Fantastic. Palm, do you have anything to say? Oh, before you finish, how do people contact you on Twitter, Eugene?
It's at Panyanotko, if you even want to contact me. Well, basically, I don't post anything interesting. Like, whenever I have something to say, I just tag you or like you, Bo, and whoever, and like, here, guys, here's the thing that you need to look into. There's some updates, some news, and whatever. If I'm not doing it, I'm just, you know, it's not worth it.
Great. Eugene, take care, my friend.
Take care, Eugene.
Have a good one.
Will do. Palm, do you want to just close?
Guys, if anybody wants to even come on my personal Facebook, not a problem. So it's PARM, Palm, LZ, Garaya, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, ProBox Respect TKO, and the website is www.proboxrespecttko.com. Peace out.
Guys, girls, thank you for watching. This has been BWTM Sports. If you want to see how our day's been together, Carl's been at BWTM HQ. He's had a meal with us. We treat him like he's family. So
great food.
Yeah, it's like family. So we took him down the beach. It's only across the road from here. Took him down the beach, went a nice little walk down the seafront, and showed him the sights of living by the sea. So if you want to see some of that stuff, check it out. Check it on Palms. He's always posting stuff. He's posting great interviews on his Facebook page. I mean, he really has interviewed some great people in boxing, and he's from amateur fighters to pro fighters. There is no discrimination, no glory hunting, just good old fashioned passionate boxing. I've met somebody more passionate about the sport than myself in this man here. So yeah, I think we've got a great man here on board. So look for great things out of this man. Okay, that's it from me. BWTM Sports. Thanks for watching us always. If you've got any suggestions about the channel, we're looking forward to be producing our news channel or our new show soon from the studio. We're still working on the studio, going for a few technical things now, but soon we will be in our studio and we're going to be having a lot of fun rocking some great things out. So without further ado, don't forget BWTM Sports Channel, BWTM Sports Channel Group. This is Ingram Jones for BWTM Sports with Palm. Take care.
God bless, guys.
Keep your hands up.